Dear Youth, hello. Welcome today, June the 4th, 2020, 4 p.m, to the launch of Project 2020 Launch.mp4, a worldwide voice of the child during the COVID-19 pandemic exhibition. Organised by the Museum of Childhood Ireland project, this initiative was focused on respecting children during this time, ensuring that they are heard. This Zoom will be recorded and uploaded to museumofchildhood.ie and shared on social media. I will introduce Myra first, and then each member of the panel before they speak. We are absolutely delighted and deeply honoured to have the wonderful Myra Zeff launch the project for us today. Myra was the first ever Children's Writing Fellow for Northern Ireland from 2017 to 2019, based at the Seamus Heaney Centre for Poetry at Queen's University Belfast and supported by the Arts Council of Northern Ireland. Myra writes for children in Irish and English. She was a recent winner at the KPMG Children's Book Ireland Awards 2020 for the absolutely brilliant Noni. Fáilte Myra Zeff.
Here I get. Ready here. I am delighted and honoured to have been asked by the Museum of Childhood Ireland to officially launch this project today, Project 2020 Launch.mp4, and to be part of celebrating with you all the work that has gone into it in recent times. This virtual exhibition of children's art and writing from Ireland and from all over the world is a compelling record of an extraordinary time in human history. Children have been invited by this project to express their hopes and fears, their thoughts, preoccupations and observations, which are now shared on this online platform for all to see and to enjoy and to ponder. The end result is eclectic, thought-provoking, sometimes funny, and sometimes slightly heartbreaking. The work hops from the global to the local, from the frightening to the joy-filled. It sometimes says what I'm feeling too, and sometimes it is so uniquely and exquisitely a child's eye view of the world. It really is a treasure trove. When we say that we're living through, and in this case documenting, unprecedented times, it can sound like such a cliche now. But I think in truth we're only scratching the surface of what this pandemic means for all of us, our world, and for our children. And in all of the attempts that we are making as a society to understand the impacts across all sections of society, we've all read countless newspaper articles, blog posts, and commentators chewing this over. We're yet to hear a clear voice from children. We hear about them, we're worried about them and how this is impacting upon them, but we rarely hear from them. This project is special because it combines some really powerful ingredients. Firstly, the enormous potential of creative expression to heal, to unlock, and to unblock, and to bring resilience. This is something that happens alone, at home, in this instance very much isolated from the public sphere. The project brings this work into the public sphere. And let's be honest, the internet is our public space currently. It's our town square, our well around which we meet as communities. And in so doing, it connects us, child to child, but also intergenerationally and across national boundaries. There's work here from Italy and Canada and Kathmandu. The children's art, stories, accounts and poems are full of yearning. They describe boredom, they describe loss. There's lots and lots of love there too, and weighing up of personal sacrifice for the greater good. Leah, who's aged 12 from Ireland, describes something that I've experienced a lot of in these past months. I don't know if it's the same for you, but she describes feeling confused, which I thought was lovely. And there are times when the children reach as well for the burning desire to have power and agency at a time when they really don't, when they wish they were superheroes with powers to fight COVID-19. One of the things that really struck me about the work was that because of the loss of normal everyday experiences, the children describe the most mundane things as if they've become a little bit glamorous. School, for example, the playground, a train ride, a game of football. These ordinary things shine in their work with a nostalgia that's very moving. I wonder if nostalgia is something we ever normally associate with children. But what's really striking is the central core importance to the children of friendships. I felt a little bit heartbroken reading and seeing over and over again how vividly they were feeling this loss. When they write and draw about their friends, the longing is absolutely palpable. It's really very emotional. There's a gorgeous picture by a little girl called Camilla, who's aged 6, in Pescara in Italy. I hope you can see that there. But we have at the top here the COVID-19 microbe with all its spikiness and even with a face mask, and it really dominates the page. But if you look closer down to the depiction of the friendships down below, they are so filled with joy and happiness. The way the hands are together and the rainbow, that it's such a, it's so clear the joy that lies in those memories, but also maybe that children are seeing this as a temporary time. There's a lot of hope in there as well for when this is going to come back. Sorry. There's another piece that really chimed with me. It's a piece of writing by an Irish 13-year-old who calls themselves LS for our purposes. Now, I've spent the last 2 months among professional creatives who've been lamenting their lack of creative energy and lack of creative drive, lots of them, while they process and deal with change in every area of their lives. So I'd love to read you this from LS, and maybe you'll find that you can identify with it too. I thought I'd be playing my piano more, but it makes me feel sad. I listen and exercise to music, but only if it's happy. I love art in school, but I just can't do it at home. That surprised me. Perhaps I just like being with my friends in the art room more than I like art. I was thinking of becoming an artist someday, but I definitely wouldn't want to do that now. So I think we're all sort of second guessing ourselves and reinventing ourselves. And yes, just like LS, maybe giving ourselves a really hard time about it in the process. I'm going to finish off now with a piece written by Kate from Killarney, who's aged 10. Now, Kate describes so well how liberating writing can be. Sometimes, maybe often, when we go to write, it reaches down into somewhere just below what's visible to our conscious minds. So sometimes we're quite surprised with what comes out of the pen and onto the paper. So Kate wrote a poem, but she also did something really precious and wrote a note about how writing the poem affected her. So I'm going to read you the note first. When I was writing this poem, I was thinking that maybe I was being a bit harsh on the lockdown because it was helping us a bit. But also this poem really allowed my emotions to come out. Like, we have to order clothes instead of going to a shop. And I don't even have a quarter of my friends' phone numbers. And I've read all my books. So the reason I think this is so important, especially for children, is because there's a really heavy cultural pressure brought to bear on our children to always be positive, to always be smiling and have a positive outlook about things. And I think that that is particularly strong in schools, actually. Children are often quite disbelieving when I tell them that they can actually write what they really think and feel rather than what might please an adult or a teacher. So never mind the beautiful and heartfelt work that's being exhibited here. I think we should think for a little moment about the process of creating it and what that has also achieved. The reaching inwards and then the reaching outwards. So before I finish with Kate's actual poem, I just would love to congratulate you all on all of the efforts that have gone into making this a really wonderful exhibition, a project that has captured the zeitgeist really beautifully and given a voice to children. So well done to all of you. But I'm going to finish with Kate, who's saying how she really feels. I'm annoyed and bored. I can't see my friends. When on earth will this lockdown end? I have no books, as my friends want to lend. When on earth will this lockdown end? Everyone's grumpy. We can't go outside. When on earth will this lockdown end? Restaurants are closing. I'm running out of clothing. When on earth will this lockdown end? Although it's annoying, there are benefits. When on earth will this lockdown end? if you stay motivated, you can really get fit. When on earth will this lockdown end? Finally, it's over, and I'm not locked inside. Finally, thankfully, dear lockdown, goodbye. Thank you very much.
So just to move forward then. Just click on it. Yeah. Go raibh míle maith agat a mháire sin anna deasa fad. Now I'd like to introduce you. Is that okay? Now I'd like to introduce you to Jessica Bhava, International Art Curator, who worked very closely with us on Project 2020 Together Lakeela.
Hi to everyone. This project is, first of all, to confirm that even if pain and sorrow has the same faces for all the children, is also the confirmation that children react with love, compassion, and they have a strength that the adults maybe have lost during their adulthood. We must say that the children are our strength, and many people during our journey had helped us, and children respond with so many grace and so many strength that we are all amazed about all their work. And we must say, I must say, a concept that is not new in art history, that the language of children is so powerful, so raw, and so meaningful that many painters and artists before them try to reach and to recover the childhood that they have lost when they grow up, and then when they reach the adulthood. So I have to say that we should try to be more children.
So, okay, back to me. Sorry, I would speak for 1 second. Yeah. So thank you very much, Jessica, for that. Next, I would like to introduce you to Ekaterina Taconic. She is responsible for the MCI project social media. Her background is in architecture, UCD. She is a researcher of play and an author. She also worked on the 2020 Together Lakeela project. Hello, Katia, welcome.
Hello everyone, thanks Mcdonough. And I suppose Project 2020 Together is such a fabulous initiative by the museum, and we really hope that through each other's art and the interpretation of the themes, that kids could really find a sense of togetherness and closeness and feel that this gives them a voice. And then also to talk about the wonderful work that the Museum of Childhood Ireland project does in general is, so I'm in charge of the museum's social media with wonderful help from Magella too. And so I've been researching and writing about kids playing Dublin for maybe 5 or 6 years. And I suppose my interest will be both the ongoing decline in kids play and how kids played in the past century. And I fabulously get to post a good bit about childhood and playing games on the museum's social media, and it is just so encouraging to see the sheer interest in a lot of these posts that we actually get. And I find the same in my own research. There seems to be a lot more growing awareness and interest and conversation in children, children's play, and children's voices. And so I suppose there are really loads of important conversations that should be had around this, and that's why I'm so delighted to be involved with the NCRP and with fabulous initiatives like Project 2020 Together. Because I suppose these are very worthwhile, because the project focuses not just on the history of childhood in Ireland, but it also looks at current children's rights and hopefully gives them a voice too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Katia. So now I would like to introduce you to Valentina Salaris, our PR, who also worked on Project 2020. She is a digital marketing specialist and founder of Leads to Kudos. Welcome, Valentina.
Thank you, Mcdonough, and welcome to all. It was a great opportunity to work on this project and to discover as well what children had to say and how they were living this horrible pandemic. My background is not working with children. I mostly work on tourism, so it was a great learning as well for me to understand how children reacted and how they fought their fears, because I believe that all these creative process help them understand that they were obviously going through something well special or different from day-to-day life, and through their creativity and through their drawings and poems, they probably hopefully managed to communicate their fears and their boredom and their loss as well. And maybe hopefully this project helped them to understand that they were not alone, but the rest of the kids around the globe were in the same position. So by sharing their work with the rest of the kids, and hopefully as well they learn that, you know, together they might feel strong and might be able to spend their time in lockdown or in this condition, even though we're not in lockdown anymore. So it was a great opportunity, a great learning as well for me, and well done to the team for bringing all this together in as well such a hard time for everybody.
Thank you so much, Valentina. Next, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Sarah Ann Buckley from MUIG, and the lead historian at the Museum of Childhood Ireland project. Welcome, Sarah Ann.
Thanks, Mcdonough. Yeah, so I guess over the last 20 years, the history of childhood and youth in Ireland has been growing, which is fantastic. And over 500 years ago, Thomas Beacon asked, what is a child or to be a child? And that's really still what we're pretty focused on. And two points that Myra raised, we're pretty obsessed with the voice of the child, and we're really obsessed with agency or whether a child had power, which was so relevant in this project, I think, in particular. And I guess when I'm speaking to children about what childhood was like in the past, it was still really affected, as we know, by similar factors today. So your gender, your social class, your ethnicity, did you live in a rural or an urban place, race, all these factors that are so relevant today. And I guess for future historians, what this project also does now is that it gives this diversity of emotion, and the history of emotions is also very cool right now, but it also gives us, you know, the fact that there's actually a lot of universal experience as well. So for me, the big topics which we spend a lot of time thinking about: school, work, play. And again, when I'm speaking to children, I know it sounds great to not be in school, and if I had this conversation 3 months ago and I explained to them that you didn't have to go to school, you know, in the mid 19th century, I think they're probably a bit more appreciative of the school experience now. So I think some of what we study is slightly more important now. And I guess the one thing I'd say is this project is amazing, but to encourage as well all the future young historians, take your oral histories from your grandparents, your neighbors, whatever it is, keep collecting as much material as you can. We're going to need it. And if it's over Zoom or whatever it is, you're the guys that are going to give us the material in the future. And keep your eye on the Museum of Childhood website and social media. We're going to be coming with a lot more blog posts to kind of outline some of these big issues. But yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Sarah Ann. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Gabriela Martinez-Sanz from UCD and lead in children's rights at the Museum of Childhood Ireland project. Welcome. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to this launch. And thank you, Mara, for your works and the selection of the works of the children. I think it was fantastic. You mentioned something that I'm very sad to say it is very much, or it has been the norm in this COVID-19 experience, and is that children are rarely here, and we rarely hear from their experiences. We have seen the lack of children's participation in decision-making, in roadmap planning of how life and future is going to look like. We've seen an absolute void in terms of children's voices and children's experiences informing these decisions. So I think for the children's rights perspective, a project like this, a Project 2020 Together, makes a huge effort to emphasize not only the importance of guarantee the right of every child to participate and to have a voice and have that voice heard, but also to think of ways in which art and creativity and spaces like the museum can help empowering children, can help them to express their voice, to gain a sense of agency, and demand that their rights are fulfilled, demand to have their voice heard and have a space for them and their experiences to be part of the conversation. So I am incredibly excited about this project. If you haven't done so, you will be able to take a look at all the pieces. It's just breathtaking, and I'm just excited to be part of it.
Thank you very much, Gabriella. And now I'd like to welcome Esther A.O. James. With a background in psychology, she is a poet, actress, and on the education team at the Museum of Childhood Ireland project. Welcome, Esther.
Hi, thanks very much, Magella, and hi to everyone. I suppose I just want to say that we know that this time is having a really weighty effect on us, and that life that we know it is over. And as we transition from now to the new normal, it's important for us to hear what's happening in the minds and the children of young people, in the minds and experiences of young people, excuse me. And they're already in some of the most transitionary periods of their life, so they have a lot going on, and I suppose it's a blessing and a curse to experience history in the making. And the experiences that we all have in childhood stay with us long into adulthood. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to all the children who share their creative work with us. And just to say that the work triggers, I suppose, a nostalgic reminder in adults of what it's like to be a child. And as well as that, it brings up a reassurance amongst children as well that other people also share their experiences. So we hope that the Project 2020 Together is an inspiration for other children who come across it to expressively show their creations and stories and point of views. I suppose for it to be a reminder that the people that are most affected in this pandemic, who will be most affected in the future by this pandemic, also have feelings and emotions and opinions about what's going on right now, and it's really important to acknowledge that. So enjoy the experience.
Thank you very much. Lovely. Now I'd like to introduce you to Anna Murray, a postgrad researcher, Washington Ireland Programme, co-founder of Disabled Women Ireland, and our lead event coordinator at the museum. Welcome, Alana. How are you?
Hello, not too bad, thanks. Hello to everyone. Firstly, thank you to all the children who have contributed to the exhibition. Obviously, with my job in events, it has changed quite significantly since lockdown. But I think if there's anything that this exhibition has actually taught me, it's about creativity. And that in terms of events, you can really create a togetherness, even though we're all so far apart. What the work that these children have done is that they've created a space for us to be together and actually recognize each other, how we're feeling, and to really look at it from a different perspective. So I think it's really helped me from an events perspective to really push creative boundaries, because these kids are the most creative people, and they've been given a space to be that creative voice. And I think we can really learn a lot from that, and kind of how we engage with work, how we engage with relationships, because they have so much to offer, and they've put it all out there, and we have the privilege of seeing it through their eyes. So I'm really excited about this exhibition and all the future kind of events that will come from it, and I think it's a great initiative.
Thank you, Alana. And now I would like to actually get to one of our Voice of the Child panelists at the Museum of Childhood Ireland project, Alana O'Sullivan. She's a Leaving Cert student, or was a Leaving Cert student, head girl, history and child rights advocate, and a member of as I said, of our Voice of the Child. Hi, Alana.
Hi, Magella. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to be a part of the Childhood Project, and as I'm only 17, I haven't had much experience yet, but right now I'm working on establishing a monument for the industrial schools for the children who were sadly forgotten about and their voices never got heard. So I think that's why this project is so pivotal, because it's amazing how it encourages our youth to finally have a voice and to finally be heard. I'm looking forward to the future in this project, and I'm glad to be a part of it, just to show our children today that we are listened to and we are heard, both past and present. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alana. I'm going to change the running order slightly now. I'm going to invite Austin Campbell to speak next, because I know that he has to go off. I know we're all volunteers, so we all have work to do as well. So welcome, Austin.
Hi, everyone. I'm very sorry to have to jump in. My name is Austin Campbell. I run a community development project in inner city Dublin. And one of the things that we do is an after-school program. So we run a kind of developmental program for children between the ages of 7 and 14, and we're actually working on a project at the moment with 9 local schools where we've distributed clay and we're working with art therapists to 1,500 children in the area, and we're looking to develop a kind of public art piece in a public area just to celebrate the role of the children and the sacrifices that they've had to make during COVID-19. And I think Project 2020 is brilliant because it's listening to children, it's giving something to them to do while they're stuck at home, and it's giving them a voice and it's allowing them to be heard. And I think everything that the museum has done to date is really fantastic in doing that and celebrating children's voices now and also down through the years. So well done to everyone, and sorry that I have to jump in now. And I'm going to have to jump off the call. But keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, so sorry about that change in running order. Next, I would like to invite, make sure that I pronounce it properly as well, Ola Oluwashewun to speak. Ola is an asylum seeker, a women and migrant inclusion advocate from County Mayo and friend of the project. Welcome, Ola.
Hi everyone. Oh, you tried with the way you pronounce my name. It's quite long.
Yes, I had help at home. I had help at home for that.
Yeah. Also, I often work with mostly women in my center, so I understand what it is having to deal with the children all by yourself now in the pandemic. However, when I saw this project on Twitter, I was like, oh my God. And I went through all the artwork that was done by kids, and I looked at my son, who is 11, and I would reflect on those days that he would rip out the pages from my book and he would draw on them, and I would be crazy, like, what are you doing? You can't be ripping out all my books and all that. And so we've moved now from me getting crazy over him ripping out my book, from me buying art materials for him now, and then posting all his work online, which people have gone on to say, oh, for an 11-year-old to have this kind of creativity in him, then you should encourage him and all that. So I would say culturally, we are used to having our parents decide for us and say, this is what I want you to be, as opposed to letting the child say, this is what I want. And I would say the project is like it's more like an eye-opener for us to give children a voice, especially during this pandemic. I would wake up in the morning, I would look at my children and doing all these things that normally you would have to like set a reminder or remind them before they do it. And now it's coming to them naturally. And that is to tell us that we sometimes suffocate children with our own ideas of how we want their lives to look like, rather than listen to them and be, sometimes we have to be their ally instead of being their advocate. Let them just say it, and then we kind of weigh in on the decision they are taking, if this is right or this is wrong, and try to like strike a balance between what they are proposing to do and what we want them to do. And I would like to thank everyone, and especially those who came up with this idea of helping them to now the tiniest of my child's drawing goes into my file. So it's no longer just mommy's writings and all that goes into safekeeping. We are keeping all these tiny little pieces of all his artwork, and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of a proud mommy moment all the time now. So yeah,
well,
thank
you very much, Ola. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you to Mary Mcdonough, a travelling community rights advocate and friend of the Museum of Childhood. We've been speaking and sort of messaging each other for many years now, but we've never really had a chance to meet. So you're very welcome, Mary. Bye.
Hi everyone, how are you? Thank you very much, Mcdonough, for inviting me here today to speak, and thanks very much to the Museum of Childhood Ireland. It's a great exhibition. I've looked at it, and as you know, we've been speaking for a while now, and yeah, it's just great to finally kind of see it all kind of put together and see how many people has been involved and how many great people are here today at this meeting. And I just want to say thank you for being the voice of so many children, and for have been there and are supporting children's voices and being heard. So as for myself, yeah, I am a traveller rights activist. I'm also a community employment supervisor, so I help train young people from the travelling community into various different employment opportunities. And yeah, sometimes, and before this I was a youth worker, so sometimes when we come across young people, we only hear what we want to hear, and it's as many people have said before, that little kind of like, you know, let them speak and let them say what they want instead of us deciding for them. That's come out that's been you know, displayed here a lot today, and I believe that as a mother, for my daughter, she didn't like art. She didn't take well to art at all for the first 5 years of school. And then all of a sudden, she's at the end of 5th year, she comes back to me and she says, I like art now. And I was like, why? And I think it's the way she was being taught it. And I think it was the freedom of what she was being allowed to do instead of being restricted and being told, draw this. She felt confined and she felt under pressure. She felt that it was not hers, it was something somebody else wanted her to do. And this year she kind of broke free from that. And so when she was asked or told, well, in a way she was saying, when she was told, do this, Erin, she said, I don't think so. I think I might just do it this way. And the teacher just let it fly, and now she loves art. And she's drawn so many pictures in the last couple of months, and now she has like art material in the room, and she's delighted with it, and she's delighted that she's able to, like, you know, stuff that she watches YouTube videos now on something, how to get something right. And that was not like her at all. She didn't have the patience for it, because again, it wasn't something she wanted. But now, and once she was allowed to explore herself, she's found new creative ideas, and it's great once you support children and identify initiatives that you can put in place to support, even funding in place, community networks in place, get people talking, get people together. You can see a lot of creativity happen. And yeah, I just want to say thank you again for being there for the voices of the children.
Well, thank you very much, Mary, for coming on today. To thank you all. I'd like to thank everyone for their help and input throughout the whole 2020 project. Myra, Beth, thank you. Our mini team within a team of Katia, Jessica and Valentina. our wider board and project group at the Museum of Childhood Ireland Project, who work so diligently too in a completely voluntary capacity to ensure we deliver the essential initiative, which is the museum, representing as it does all childhoods past and present in Ireland and beyond. To our Irish community activists on today's panel, Mary Mcdonough, Austin, Ola. Also, we wish to thank Angeline Conahan at Groundswell Arts in London, who was very helpful. A very special thank you to author and illustrator Carol-Ann Tracy, who designed the fantastic frames for the children's artworks, for the poetry and for the writing pieces. We didn't use them for the children's artwork because we just wanted the colours there for to shine through themselves. But thank you very, very much to Carol-Ann for that. She's allowing us to have those for our online and also the physical exhibitions when we have them, so we'll be able to use them for both. Many of the artworks are already up for viewing on the website at museumofchildhood.ie. Due to the high volume of 11th hour submissions, we couldn't get every single entry uploaded, but we will get around to them all over the coming months. If you spot any errors or you've questions or queries, please do contact us on info@museumofchildhood.ie. Slán agus buíochas libh go léir. Slán, gurb míle maith agaibh. Thank you.
Slán.
Bye bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.